Hi, everyone. My name is Manfred Moser, and I'm here with Sonatype. We run the central repository that gives all those jars and artifacts to your Maven and SPT and Gradle builds. I don't know how to tightrope, but I know that with a lot of or enough practice, I could learn it, just like I've learned to go from moving from Agile development all the way to DevOps and bringing more and more value to my customers. The way I can also do that in bringing lots of value is by using components. I'm not rewriting a logging framework. I'm not rewriting an IOC container. I'm using a web framework and take advantage of all the features that the central repository provides. We've served over 8 billion requests last year from companies and anybody using those tools. And when you write an application these days, more than 90% of your actual code base that you're looking after is actually these components. You're only using 10%. We're following this theme of not reinventing the wheel, just like a car manufacturer. You have a supply chain, you use these components, but they do become part of an application. And you don't want to fall into that same problem that you have, claims like Toyota had with their cars here and there. Remember, you do become responsible for those components. You have to look after the risk and the security and license issues they potentially pose. You own them. They're part of what you're shipping, the war or whatever goes into your production. And lots of companies don't manage to take advantage, manage that. Here, for example, Struts vulnerability that was coming out recently hit a lot of three-letter agencies, big companies. They're trying to manage what components they're using, but they can't manage it. There is too many. There's so many libraries that an average application is using. They're changing all the time. New releases coming out. New security issues are found. Things are relicensed, reforked, and so on. It's hard to manage. Why do you care as a DevOps team, though? Well, you are bringing this application into production, and as part of it, nowadays an application uses these components, and you are therefore also responsible for those. You might want to farm it through lots of tests, through lots of stages and certifications, while you still have to look after the components as well, and typically that's not happening. We see, for example, 46 million insecure components were downloaded from the central repository just this last year. 90% of repositories that customers have do have security issues in components in their systems. And how can we can start to control it? Do you introduce policies and make more bureaucracy? Well, it's not going to work. You're going to slow down the whole process, and DevOps is going to come to a grinding halt. It's not going to work. So what can we do? Well, we've introducing Sonatype CLM. We don't do the same thing you do for all the DevOps work. We are automating the policies. You can automate security analysis, you can automate license analysis, and you can adapt it to different stages. Here you see a developer using a development tool, Eclipse, where they're writing a story, and you can see the different versions available in this chart and which ones, the orange ones, have security issues. You can upgrade to the next one in your IDE, and the developer can see the problems and what they have available as their libraries early. In the same way, you can make builds fail on production or in your CI build in Jenkins or Hudson, so that if there is a known security issue in one of your components or one of the transitive dependencies of a component that depends ultimately needs your complication. This whole focus of trying to get the components and secure is an effort of shifting left, as we call it in DevOps, where you have to find these issues early. The earlier you find them, the cheaper it's going to be to get them. So prevention is the ultimate form of shifting left, as Curtis says. And that's going to help you get away from this. And we think with DevOps, the culture camps, as we all know, it's ideal as a scenario to be this integral part with DevOps to also take ownership and involve people from your security and license team and your quality as part of the DevOps process. Because if you end up pushing an application out all the time, but it has the security issues in it, you're ultimately going to fail. So you're going to, as part of the process, have to own up and look after security and license issues as well. Is it overwhelming? Maybe it is. Do you know all the jars that are responsible that go into your work? Could you tell all the versions? Could you tell all the license? Do you monitor all the security issues? Maybe not. There's a lot of work to do, and we just want to help you. My name is Manfred Moser. I'm at sonatype.com. You can find me at Simple Agility. I'm just across the water in Victoria. And I can demo this whole stuff later on if anybody's interested. Thank you.